Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to today's training session. So, the person that will conduct your training is not myself or Mihaela today, but it is Kirstie. She is the co-founder of Proverb. They have been in the industry since 2018. So, please enjoy this training. And I'm going to hand over to Kirstie and she can introduce herself as well if you haven't met her.
Good afternoon, team. As Britt said, I am one of the founders of Proverb, and we've been working with the product house since launch. Jeanette and the team were so crucial of bringing everything to Dubai, and in fact, convincing me that Proverb was going to be a spa brand. So we can blame Jeanette. We blame Jeanette for this. But as Britt said, I've been here, unfortunately, much longer. I'm much older than that. So I've been really teaching therapists for the last 20 years. And my original background was pure teaching, not necessarily just products, but yeah, teaching people to be therapists. And then in 2018, 2019, just before COVID, we made Proverb. Now, obviously, it wasn't a great time to make a skincare brand because the spa world shut. But since then, we've been going full force. And those of you that haven't met me, I always start this masterclass with just a little bit of a brand refresh. I know for those of you that do it all the time, you hear it again and again and again. But most of you work in buildings where you have multiple brands. And it is very important that for each brand, you can easily make a paragraph that you can explain to a guest about what that brand is. Okay, so we'll do that first. Then what I wanted to do today, and every masterclass we change the syllabus, but today we are going to take a deep dive, really looking at the skin strengthening serum as a product, because you will have done product knowledge, but sometimes I want to go even deeper into a bottle so you really understand it. And then to do the same about body oils. Now, with the body oils, it's not just going to be learning about our body oils. As a teacher, I can't help but always want to teach you more about the whole industry, not just what we do. But what I want to really do with the body oils is help make you understand how the whole industry, the two options and ways of physically formulating and creating body oils, so that you're really well versed and able to understand any bottle of oil that might come towards you. Okay, so let's just think about the brand first. So on your notes, you've got Proverb. The word means truth, statements of truth. Those of you that have met me before, or this is your first time, you'll work out I'm pretty brutally truthful about everything. And the reason we thought that is that there is very little transparency really in the beauty industry about how things are actually made. There is a lot of marketing. So we wanted to make Proverb to move gym and spa together, because for 360-degree health, that's what everyone needs. And Proverb takes the ingredients from elite athletes' diet sheets, always natural, organic if we can get the organic version, always vegan, and then they have to have really strict in vitro or in vivo clinical data with them as well, to make sure that while they are natural and organic, they are also lab proven. When we're choosing the ingredients, it's about choosing the highest level antioxidants, the highest level omega fatty acids, just like food. So what you want to say to a guest is this is formulated much more like a nutritionist, like someone who's looking at food, because those things like amino acids, fatty acids, antioxidants, enzymes, they are the building blocks for getting you really comfortable, plump, hydrated skin. And what I would always try and do with my guests is, can we get them to start thinking about beauty like food, not just expensive bottles and boxes, because it's really about the liquid. It should be about the liquid and what's inside the liquid and how it is made. Everything's made in England, and we have a really strong sustainability and refillable packaging concept. For those sites that have got our refillable deodorant, that is one of our best sellers at retail, and there is more coming in a refillable mode. So for your guest, we know it's 100% natural. The percentages of organic will be different each bottle because it depends what is inside them. It's 100% vegan, made in England, and always taking the inspiration of elite professional sport and blending that with spa. So from that, you'll be able to create yourself a few sentences to be able to say to your guest about the brand. And then those of you that are doing the treatments obviously are always, again, blending professional sport, taking assisted stretch massage. So assisted stretch, taking all the elements of physiotherapy that we are allowed to do as therapists, and putting that with our beautiful spa touches and massage. And that is always the blend, blending gym and sport with spa. Because what we want for people is we want them to be healthy, have the right ingredients inside them, be able to perform, and to live in an environment that we help protect. So we always talk about in Proverb our triangle of health, performance, and environment. You will see on the packaging there's lots of triangles, and this is why. So we make products for people who care about their health, performance, and the environment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen, and we will have a look at our masterclass. Okay, can you see a grey screen? Give me a thumbs up with a small Kirstie.
Yes, we can see it, because you just need to enlarge the screen.
Yeah, he was enlarged
possible.
a minute ago. Hold on, let's see if we can make him bigger.
And
Any
if you
better?
are able to move, yeah, that's good. And then if you are able to move yourself to like the right side.
Let's see if we can move. Let's see if we can move Kirstie. Hold on, let's get onto the next page because we might not need.
It went off now.
Now we're back to full Kirstie. Okay. We've got both of us now, Britt. Is the
Yes.
grey screen big enough, or would you like just to have the full grey screen?
If you can click to the next slide, just so I can see if there's writing on there. I mean, I can see it. I don't know if everyone else can see that, but
And
it
give me a
should be
thumbs up
fine.
if anyone can see, or if you want me to make it bigger.
Yeah, it's on my side, Kirstie.
Okay, perfect.
Make it bigger. I guess I need to make it bigger because it's very small from here.
Are you on a phone? Okay, hold on. Right, we're gonna lose my face. We'll lose my face and we'll go full screen. Hold on.
Sorry for technical difficulties.
There we go.
Perfect. Thank you, Kirst.
Right then. So the bottle that you can see is the Skin Strength Serum. So if you put Skin Strength Serum as your title, today, instead of doing lots of products, we're going to go more deeply into this one product. Okay. And our first slide explains the overall concept of what this bottle does. We talk about it as Under Armour for your skin. It is a serum that's been made to help make you look less tired, to try and stop tired looking skin, environmental stress, and help signs of aging. Built like that elite nutrition plan, but for your face. Hello, Palace Fajira. Welcome. Are you guys okay just to put your sound on mute for me? We have a nice soundtrack, everybody. Guys at the palette, hello, how are you? Perfect, I can see now. Can you put your sound? Perfect.
There we go.
Amazing. And so with the serum, so we're just looking at the skin strength serum. From an anti-aging point of view, we've built this to try and support collagen, reduce wrinkles. We have an anti-fatigue element in it to boost skin tone and radiance. It's protective because we wanted to make sure that we had some UV protection. Hydrating because of wanting to stop moisture loss. Okay. Now, our next slide explains as a therapist how we can talk about the product. So it suggests we can explain to them that they can think of it like a performance serum to help them hydrate, brighten, and protect. And ideal for anyone that gets exposed to too much sun, blue light, or fatigue. So any city clients, any parents of young children, travelers, athletes, they are going to use it underneath their moisturizer, and a little of it goes a long way. So they do not have to use too much. It makes the skin feel instantly smooth and also matte. It is not shiny. It doesn't make you glow. It's got a more matte effect, this product. And it does feel tightening. So it feels like a slight facelift in a bottle, which is coming from the blue agave, which I will explain in more detail now. In terms of how they will use it, they are going to use the Skin Strength Serum in the morning and the evening after they've cleansed and toned, but before moisturizing. And we always explain how much product they need in terms of a food substance, the size of a food substance, because they know what that looks like. So we say they need 1 pumpkin-sized piece for the face and 1 pumpkin seed-sized piece for the neck and the upper chest. Okay. Now, what we have is an interesting table going through the ingredients for the serum and explaining how and why it does those things. And the way I've split them up in for you, I've split them up into the base ingredients, which is where the hydration and the kind of delivery vehicle of the formula comes from. And then we will go into the active ingredients. Okay, so this is a water-based serum, which is where you get the gel texture from. It is water with 2 humectants. It has sodium hyaluronate, which its other name is hyaluronic acid. So it has a low molecular weight hyaluronic acid. And you will know from your learnings before that hyaluronic acid is there to help plump fine lines and to try and stop water loss from the skin. Okay. But it also has glycerin. Now, glycerin is not so famous as hyaluronic acid, but it does the same. It works just like a hyaluronic acid. It is a humectant still that attracts water in your skin. So in your notes, you need to know that you've got 2 really important hydration ingredients in there in the base of the product. So you need to know that you've got sodium hyaluronate with glycerin. You also have in the base of that serum some witch hazel, which is in there because we wanted the soothing and anti-inflammatory element. Okay. Then, when you are formulating, you have to decide what the base of the product is going to be. and then what the active ingredients are that you're going to be putting inside it. And so inside the Skin Strength Serum, this is what we have. Hopefully the little pictures will help us. But you have Lactobacillus tomato extract. That is a fermented tomato lycopene. Lycopene is a really important carotenoid antioxidant, which will help against pollution and UV damage. If you look at the pictures, can you see that there's a real color tone to these? They are nearly all orange, red, or dark black, okay? And that's a really strong clue that this serum has been made to be very high in antioxidants, because any fruit or vegetable that has orange, red, black, darker skins will have really high levels of antioxidants. Your second ingredient in this table is an Antarctic glycoprotein. Okay, now this is the one, if you've done the product knowledge with me before, that was actually found on the bottom of a glacier. So in the Antarctic, with the icebergs, there was a bacteria found underneath the iceberg that was managing to cryoprotect itself. So protect itself in the cold. And this became really interesting of working out what else it could do. And it has incredible clinical data showing how good it is with increasing collagen production, reducing wrinkles. Now, it's not as relevant in Dubai, but in England, it is also good at protecting your skin in the cold. So you want your Antarctic glycoprotein. You can then see a papaya. So we have AHA to brighten and gently exfoliate the top of the skin from the papaya fruit extract. And the next two ingredients are the really dark skins of acai and pomegranate. Acai and pomegranate both have very, very high antioxidant levels to help stop any oxidative stress, so to stop the damage of free radicals. If we get a chance this morning, we might talk a little bit more about free radicals once we've looked at the oils. And then you have the berries, the oil of sea buckthorn. Sea buckthorn is a very high carotenoid antioxidant. And it also has, it doesn't say on this table, but you can write on your own notes, it also has a lot of omega-7 fatty acid. You can then see a blue ingredient. So this blue ingredient is the odd one out. He's the one that doesn't have any friends. He's not quite the right color. So this blue ingredient is blue agave. It grows in the desert, and it is the plant that you make the tequila from. So it is an incredibly sustainable desert plant. It doesn't barely need any water to grow. Now, for some people, they use it to make tequila. Not for us, because remember, you get out what you put in. We do not want that alcohol in there. But what the plant also has is it has a very interesting, what's called polysaccharide network. So it acts like a silicone. In organic skincare, we would never use silicone because you cannot get natural and organic silicone. And silicone is put into moisturizers and makeup to fill up any wrinkles on your face. It acts like a polyfiller and to make your face very smooth. Now, blue agave can do exactly the same. And if you put it on the skin within 5 minutes, with you don't need a microscope, just with a human eye, you can see that it fills in wrinkles. So it has this instant skin tightening and line filling effect. So it's an important ingredient in the bottle. And then we also have some orange peel for the brightening element as well. So the papaya and the orange are giving a brightening impact for the skin. And obviously it has its vitamin C in orange too. So back to me. So on our notes about this serum then, you want to think of the base of it as being a hydrating delivery vehicle. And remember that you've got hyaluronic acid and glycerine. So you've got two humectants, not just the one. Then inside the actives, you need to remember that the reason we have all the orange and red and dark skins is because of the antioxidants. They will be polyphenols or carotenoids that help feed your body the antioxidants, which stop the baddies inside you, the free radicals. And the brightening will be coming from orange and papaya. And the ability to fill in fine lines is coming from blue agave, the tequila plant. I will send Michaela and Brittany this document afterwards as well. So they will be able to send it to the properties so you have the table. So do not worry too much about writing all of it, but just make sure that you're happy and remember the bits that I just said. So that is our skin strength serum. And to remind you of its texture, can you see on here? Because we know that that's a water-based delivery, which is why it looks like a gel. And when you try it on your hand, so after this training, if you go to the retail area and put some on your hand, you do not need to rub it a lot. Just 1, 2, 3, leave it. And then let it dry. So don't keep rubbing it into the face. You just need to smooth it on and leave. Okay. But put it on one hand and then in 5 minutes, compare the two hands and see if one looks brighter with any of the fine lines filled in compared to the other hand. Okay, so that is job 2, looking at the serum. So we've revised the brand, then we've looked at our serum. Job 3 is to really understand the world of oil. Now, if you could see my desk in front of me, there is oil all over the place, always. As a therapist, the thing we will use most for our entire career is oil. We live in oil, okay? So it's really important that we understand that oils are not all equal. They can be made very, very differently. The only thing is, it still looks like oil. We know what it looks like, but they can be vastly, vastly different. And I am not talking about how they smell. The smell is easy in formulation. The smell is just putting in an essential oil or a perfume. What I'm talking about is the actual seeds that make the oil and how the oil is made. So this next section, we are going to look at how oil is created, whether it is refined or whether it's cold pressed. And this isn't just about Proverb. This is for all of the oil that you are going to touch so that you understand which is which and you can ask questions from your suppliers of which is which. And then it will lead us to revise the Proverb oils so you know what you've got in your bottles. Okay, let me go back to my screen to share. Okay. So this is our skin academic part. The first part was learning about a Proverb bottle. then always my job is to make you more clever and to help you know more about the industry. So this is the skin academic part. So on your notes, if you put oil and if you put cold pressed or refined, just like the title of this screen. Now, most oil in the beauty industry is refined. Okay, Proverb is not. We're in the cold pressed, but a lot of oil is refined seed oils. So they will always come, the oil always comes from a natural source originally. It will come from a jojoba or an apricot or a wheat germ or a grape seed. The original source of the oil is natural, but then it can be treated in two incredibly different ways. And the first way is refined. This is mass production of oil. And so not only for beauty industry, if you think about cooking, if you think about all the oils in your kitchen, most of your oil that you will use to cook with will be refined. And the reason is it's mass produced, so it is cheaper. But when you mass produce and refine an oil, the problem is that they use chemicals to alter it, and the nutrient value in it becomes very poor. So let's explain what happens with most cooking oils and with most beauty oils. So they will take the original seed, the natural seed. So let's just pretend as an example that we've got jojoba. They will crush it to get the oil, but then when they refine, they treat it with a solvent, normally something called hexane, which comes from the petroleum industry. And then it gets heated to incredibly high temperatures. So we'll go to maybe 270 degrees. Now, if you think about standing in your kitchen and you have some carrots in a saucepan, if you heated them to 270 degrees, would there be anything left that would be worth eating? I don't think so. So when they do this very strong heat, the problem is it destroys the antioxidants and it destroys the enzymes and it destroys the vitamins. So the most oil is then also bleached. Now, this is really hard to believe, but apparently the world does not like oil being dark orange and colored. Apparently it's more appealing to a human if it's slightly paler. So what happens is, because a natural ingredient, a natural product is never all one pale color, it's a real living thing. Each batch, each harvest will be different, but to make it look the same every time, they will then put bleach and they deodorize it to take the smell away. The result is that they get a very, very long shelf life. It is cheaper, which makes spas happy because the product tends to be cheaper. It makes the supermarkets happy because the cooking oil is cheaper. But there is very little nutrition value. And so for us, this is why we will never do this. Okay, so we won't use refined oils. If we did, it would make us a lot more money. We'd make a lot more profit, but it isn't as good for the skin. All you're doing when you have refined seed oils is you have a massage medium that will slip. And so as a therapist, it will give you good slip. Come back to me for a second. As a therapist, it will give you a good slip, but that's it. That's all it will do for the skin. Once it's left on the skin, there's no real value to it being there. Now, the problem is that nobody has to tell you whether their oil is refined. And even if it's refined, the original source is still something nice. So the original source was jojoba. So you will walk into somewhere to buy a beauty massage oil and they will tell you, oh, it's a completely natural jojoba oil, because they can legally say that because it does come from jojoba. That is where it's from. What they don't have to tell you is that it's been refined and that it's been cooked to death, it's been bleached, and it's been deodorized. Okay, so these are the 3 things I want you to write down to make sure you remember, hint, hint, in case there's any questions later. If an oil is refined, then it gets very high heating. So it gets heated to 270 degrees. So it gets severe heat. It gets bleached. You know how you use bleach to clean your toilets? Similar game to make an oil pale. And they take the smell away. So they take any smell away. So you can't smell the real, natural, original ingredient. Okay. Now, the other way, instead of using refined oils, is to use cold pressed oils. So let's have a look at our cold pressed. And all of your oils in your Proverb body massage, they are all cold pressed. We're talking about the base oils. Don't worry about essential oils yet. That's about smell and aromatherapy benefits. We're talking about the actual oil, the base carrier oils. So a cold pressed oil does not get high heat. So the seed, if we take the jojoba, like you can see in the picture, it will get mechanically pressed for the oil to come out, but the heat will not go above 49 degrees. We then have to filter the oil. So a bit like in the kitchen, if you were sieving flour, because you want to get the lumps out of the flour, then the oil will also get filtered and sieved to retain any big lumps out of it. But it keeps its original natural color, it keeps its original scent, and it keeps whatever the nutrients that are inside the jojoba, it keeps them. So it retains its vitamins, it retains its antioxidants, and it retains its essential fatty acids. And so the result is that your oil is not just for massage. It is actually a nutrient for your skin. So it can support the skin healing. It can help with skin barrier repair. We talk about this sort of oil being the get out what you put in oil. You can, when you have cold pressed oils, it can mean that your shelf life is slightly shorter, but it is still good. Oil self-preserves, so we don't have to put any preservatives. There are no preservatives in the body oils, and they will still have a shelf life of at least 18 months to 24, at least 2 years, because oil is self-preserving. But obviously, like everything in the real organic and natural world, is that potentially that product definitely becomes more expensive. The good thing is what Proverb and Product House have been doing with our body massage oils, because we're working at a really big scale, we are really working very hard to keep that cost price of those oils down, despite the fact that they are the most elite cold pressed organic version there is. So also on your notes with the oil, so if you put cold pressed, it is not high temperatures, no bleaching. It keeps its natural color, its natural smell. And it keeps all the vitamins or antioxidants that you wanted from that plant or from that seed. Now, what makes the Proverb body oils even better is that not only is it cold pressed, the original jojoba was also grown organically. So it was grown on organic soil. So industry-wide, 100% organic and cold pressed is the best you can literally get. And so that is what those oils are. So the most elite. So you can put on your notes that your body massage oils are all 100% organic. That means they've been grown in land where they haven't had pesticides or fertilizers or any unnecessary chemicals put on them. Okay. But now we know that the problem is you can have a bottle of body massage oil here, which is refined, a jojoba, and you can have an organic cold pressed jojoba here, but they still just say jojoba on the label. So it's very, very difficult to find out. And this is why you have to ask more questions, get brands to show you where they come from, how it's made, because what you really want is the cold pressed. But for you, for most of you as therapists, as the therapist amongst you, what you need to do in your mind is go, right, this is not just something I massage with. This is actual treatment for the skin. And I need to tell the guests this. I need to tell them that they are getting 100% cold pressed bioactive oils that will nourish and treat their skin as well as me doing the massage. Because otherwise you're using something very beautiful and not explaining to them quite how beautiful it is. So the refining and the cold pressing is about all of the industry. Let's now just have a little revision specifically about your Proverb oils to help you remember those ones. So the suggestion on this screen is, the question is, okay, well, why does it matter so much that they are cold pressed? And it says, because your skin is your largest organ. What you put on it goes inside. You get out what you put in. And you're not just giving a massage, you're feeding the skin. And then it says a quick way to be able to explain this to a guest is that a refined oil is like fast food. It's like a McDonald's, cheap, convenient, but doesn't have any nutritional value. Whereas a cold pressed oil is like a fresh juice, vibrant, nourishing, and alive. So we want to give them the fresh juice. Okay, so let's think about how our actual Proverb oils then, what they have in them. So we now know it's all cold pressed like a fresh juice. And first of all, we're looking at the professional body massage oils. So you have different properties, have different bottles, but there are 4 in total: defense, performance, recovery, and longevity. But all 4 of those, it doesn't matter which one, they all have the same organic 3 cold pressed seed oils. And the cold pressed seed oils are apricot, because it's so rich in fatty acids and vitamin A. We wanted the vitamin A. Then it has cold pressed sunflower seed oil, really good for skin irritation and calming. So if someone has been in the sun too much, they've got maybe their skin is red, or they are it's a woman who's going through menopause, also has a lot of vitamin E. And then the jojoba is a very clever oil because it copies the lipid barrier of the skin. So it's great for all skin types because it pretends to be sebum. It behaves like sebum. So, hint, hint, we need to remember that we have 3 cold-pressed base oils in all the Proverb body oils, and those are apricot, sunflower, and jojoba. Now, these are the names of the 4 body oils and the aromas in them. So if your property doesn't have all of them, do not worry, just ignore the ones you don't have. But these are the ones that exist. So the signature smell for Proverb always is our defense smell. This is the same smell as the mint deodorant. It's the same smell as the skin and gym sanitizer. And defense has inside it has wild mint, eucalyptus, geranium, and lavender. And that body oil is about strength, being able to breathe very easily because it's an amazing decongestion. If you have been sick, if you have had the flu, if you have a cold, it's good for that. The most gentle of the 4 oils is recovery. This is the rose geranium, rose, lavender, and ylang ylang. And it is very, very calming to the mind, but also to the skin. The oil that is for warmth and warming the skin is performance, which is ginger, black pepper, and frankincense. So this is about being ready to perform, to do your best, good for sore muscles, and ideal for pre and post training. If you wanted to do a sports massage, then performance is a good oil to use, and defense. And then longevity is the sweet orange smell. So sweet orange, bergamot, ylang ylang, and patchouli. And this one is about having time to yourself. It smells like you've just gone to the islands of Indonesia, so you can distress and relax. So to recap then for your notes, we know that we have 3 base carrier oils: apricot, jojoba, and sunflower. There are then 4 body oils to choose from that all have different essential oils. Those essential oils are also 100% organic. So they are the best ones that are grown anywhere in the world. And different properties have different ones. But what is crucial, obviously, none of them have any nuts. So they are completely nut-free. So this makes it easy for guests who have nut allergies. The recovery and the longevity, so the rose flavor and the sweet orange, are more relaxing. Whereas defense and performance are more uplifting. So you have 2 that relax, 2 that uplift. And so if you were going to do a sports massage or a deep massage, it would make sense to have performance or defense. If you were trying to send someone to sleep, it would make sense to have recovery or longevity. Recovery is the only one that can go on the face. It is a face oil too. So it's blended for the face. The other 3 are only for the body. So recovery is quite a special one because it can go on the face and it can go on the body. In your retail areas currently, you only have 1 body oil, okay? And this is the smell for defense, the wild mint one. So you have 1 glass body oil bottle that is registered in Dubai, and it's called Focus Body Oil, but it is the exact smell for defense, okay? Very soon, we will hopefully have all 4 of them to be at retail. So really, ideally, by Christmas, there will be all 4 of them for retail. Now, has anyone got any questions about oil? Pop them in the chat if so. One last thing, I will just explain a little more about the focused body oil that you have in the retail area. Hold on, ignore, oh, there he goes. Okay. So this is your retail bottle that you have currently for focused body oil. And what you will see is that the cold pressed base carrier oils from this oil are different. Okay, so they are different to the professional oils at the moment. So you have the wild mint, eucalyptus, geranium, and lavender, but then the bottle, this bottle has coconut, it has rice bran, it has chia, carrot, and broccoli. Okay. Technically, the retail one has slightly, you could say that these are slightly more premium oils, but also it is because our expectation at home is that they don't need to massage with it as much as we do. So this is more about being a skin treatment oil. This is about moisturizing the body and being a skin treatment oil, and it doesn't need to slide or glide in the same way that ours does. So this signature oil, this is the Proverb signature body oil, has this unique base, which is slightly different to our ones in the treatment room, where we have coconut, rice bran, chia, carrots, and the good old green broccoli. So it's important to know and understand those bases, but they are all still cold pressed and they are all still made in the same way. Okay, I'm just going to have a look at the questions we have in the chat. So one question about the oils. Can we use on the hair or head massage? Yes, they can all happily go into the hair. Thank you, Retreat. That is your bottle. I can see it. They can all happily go into the hair, as long as your guest is happy to have oil in their hair. So obviously check with them first. And if you think about the ingredients, because obviously if you're massaging into the hair, it is going to potentially go to the scalp. So you could make your choices based on what you think the scalp needs. So if you know that their scalp is sensitive, then it would be best to use the recovery oil, for instance. So the rose geranium one. And another question about oils, are there any contraindications? So the only real contraindication would be that if someone was allergic to an ingredient. So we definitely need to know if they were allergic to jojoba or sunflower or apricot, because that would be a problem, because they are all that in the base. We would have to look at using elite superfood instead. And then it's about, are they allergic to any essential oils? Now, in terms of the most obvious things, so nuts, we have said we've got no nuts. Pregnancy, when you Google all those essential oils, there are none that say they're an absolute no for pregnancy. However, having done lots of pregnancy, I teach lots of pregnancy massage, I would always suggest that you use a more relaxing. So I would suggest that we don't use the defense or the performance. And if they are pregnant, I would use recovery or longevity. And then likewise, it would just be contraindications if they were allergic to any of those essential oils. Good questions though, team. Everyone needs to know these things. Okay, right then. What we're going to do, we will do our little quiz. You need to be able to get into your chat box. Okay, so if there are lots of you, maybe make one of you the typer and you have to just be honest and know who the person was that actually got the answer. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question and then it is a race to put the answer into the chat. And whoever puts the answer in the chat first is the winner. Okay.
And then, sorry, guys, is it just for when you guys answer, please put your name and property so that whoever answers first, we can deliver the prize to the property.
So we know where you are. Okay, then let's go. Question 1. What are the three bad things that are done to refine an oil? So the refined oils, what are the 3 things that they do to treat them that we don't really want? This is a hard one. I'm starting with the difficult one. So the 3 negative things when they are refining an oil to make it the cheapest it can be and give themselves the biggest yield, what do they do to it? I can see somebody typing. And if you can't remember all 3 of them, can you remember any of them? So when they refine the oil. Okay, so what have we got here? So the retreat, we've got bleached, heated to over 270 and crushed. Good. And Brenda said bleached, very high heat makes the oil pale. Okay. And then Mega S, we've got heat, high temperature, bleach, and take the fragrance away. Okay. So very good. So we've got retreat being the first winner there. Yay. Okay. Next question. What are the 3 cold pressed base oils that we use in all the professional oils? So in your defense and your recovery and your longevity, not the essential oil, what is the actual oil? 3 of them. Suki, I think your volume just came on. They've done it again.
Yeah, retreat.
Retreat again. Apricot, sunflower, and jojoba. Suki, address beach, you right? Perfect, thank you. And then very closely followed by 5. Also got it right with the organic apricot, sunflower, and jojoba. Okay, right. We've got to see if we can beat them. They can't win all of them. They've got 2 already. Okay, so next up then. Okay. When Proverb makes its products, we talk about making products for 3 reasons. Our triangle, we're making products for people that care about 3 things. What are the 3 things? This was from the very beginning when we talked about the brand. Health, performance, and environment. Okay, so technically retreats was first, followed by 5. Mercy, got that right as well. Mega, perfect, and Abigail, very good. Britt, do they get all of them? How many of you are in the building? We can have 1 each.
3.
Okay, good job, team. Okay. Now, with Proverb Skin Strength Serum, what in the hydrating base vehicle, there are 2 important humectants. What are the two important humectants that will be stopping water loss out the skin, but also trying to attract water from the deeper layers of the skin up towards the epidermis? Two of them. We're not allowed just the obvious one. They've done it again. Win, win, win. So glycerine, and hyaluronic acid. So hyaluronic acid, remember its official name is sodium hyaluronic. Well done, 5 Palm. You've got glycerine too. Brenda's got glycerine. Good job. So it's glycerine and hyaluronic acid. And just remember that hyaluronic acid, I didn't tell you this earlier, but it is also in your Hydration Pro Moisturizer, and it's also in your hydrating toner. Okay, last one then, on the skin strength serum. We know that we want the darker skins because of the high antioxidant levels, but we also wanted the serum to provide a brightening effect. And so there are 2 fruits in there that are providing AHA and vitamin C for brightening. What are the 2 fruit extracts that are doing that? Suki. So Brenda, very close. So Brenda said citrus and orange. So orange is right, but the other one is papaya. Nice. I like it. We got a new winner. So Suki and Address Beach. So papaya and orange. Perfect. So papaya for the AHA, coming from the papaya, and the orange. Awesome. And then we also know that we've got the dark antioxidants coming through the pomegranates and the acai. And then that odd one out, the amazing line filling, wrinkle smoothing blue agave from the tequila plant. Have I done 5, Britt?
Yes, you have.
Good work, team.
Trying to make it fair as much as possible.
I will send the presentation over so you've got all of the tables about the serum and the details about cold pressing and refining as well. But thank you ever so much. Has anyone got any questions?
I just need to find out Mega S, because that's on the name there. Which property are you from? No, Mega S, if I'm pronouncing it
Yes,
correctly.
I'm from address Fuzera.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions at all? Anything guests ask them or anything they're worried if they don't know about Proverb? It doesn't have to be on the topics that we've talked about today. It can be on anything. Also, it's always worth telling Britt or Michaela what you want to be in the next masterclass. So if there is anything the team is struggling with, and whether it's academic, it could also be treatment-based. So there is no reason, I have my bed, there's no reason if you said, for instance, we're really struggling with the back stretches or anything like that, we could always do some refreshing of that. Although you do have Britt and Michaela to be doing that with you.
Yeah, please, can you just please refresh for cooling gel? I remember cooling gel.
Okay, mustn't be the cooling gel. Now, hopefully, when we eventually get Dubai municipality sorted out, it will return with a slightly different name because they want the name changed. So I think it's going to be called post-workout cooling gel, hopefully. Now, the cooling gel is a gel texture, but it has in it something called V-tonic. So a French laboratory, so a French lab made a combination of they are all still essential oils. They are natural essential oils. And they named it V-tonic. And they put it through really detailed clinical trials about trying to stop legs feeling heavy and stop legs aching and stop legs feeling restless. And so this blend is called V-tonic. So if you put V-tonic, and inside the V-tonic, there is cypress oil, there is mint, there is lemon, and there is something called rock rose, the laburnum. And so it's a combination of essential oils that have been clinically trialed to stop people's legs feeling heavy and aching. And so from a guest perspective, it is very good for a guest who stands up on their feet all day. So maybe their job, they stand up all day, or they've been walking around the city and doing lots of sightseeing. Anyone that goes to the gym a lot and repeatedly is using muscles, legs, arms, it is only a body product. So it is not for the face, it is just for the body. In the UAE, it is also lovely because it cools. So you can also sell it as a cooling moisturizer, like as a cooling body mask. If someone wants to come home, have a shower, cover themselves to feel cooler after their day. Or in treatment, we will often do the massage and then apply it as a cooling layer to finish the treatment. The other group of people I would be interested in trying to get to use it is anyone that's doing long haul travel. So if they've just come off a long flight to Dubai, it'd be good for their legs to help try and flush and decongest, because that essential oil blend is about trying to support the veins, the venous system that decongests and takes around your body the deoxygenated blood, and also to try and use it before they get on a plane. So anyone that's got aching, anyone that feels heavy legs, anyone that stands up all day, does lots of exercise, been on a plane for a long time, or is going on a plane for a long time. And you can talk to them about the French V-tonic, clinically trialed to reduce the feeling of heavy legs and aching in legs, but all coming from essential oils and natural product. Anyone else got anything they want to revise?
No, but I remember with address we have some questions about the oil being heated for a full day, or yeah, maybe you can cover that because they have a specific
Oil warmer.
yes, and they keep it all day, and yeah.
It's really interesting because if you think about what we just said about cold pressed and refined oils, truthfully, oil doesn't want to be heated. This is not just Proverb oil. This is all high quality cold pressed oil. It is best raw. It's best not warmed up, because if you continually heat an oil, then you are trying to convince and to try and stop and drop the vitamin level and the nutrient level. Now, that said, oil warmers in spas are not that hot. So they are not going to be going over 49 degrees, I would imagine. So if people do want to do it, it is an option. But just so you know, from a formulation point of view, academically, it is best to not heat oils technically if you're trying to get the real benefits out for skin. However, we all know that there will be spa treatments that need hot oil. So we can have a hot oil massage. So in that case, we're going to have to heat it, because otherwise the treatment is not a hot oil massage. But it is just something to discuss as a property. If I'm being my academic formulation self, nobody should be heating any oils in any brand. Doesn't make sense. If we're thinking about clients and it feeling nice, I understand it should feel warm. And if it's a hot oil massage, we have to. So it's not the perfect answer, Michaela, but it's kind of the truthful answer. Also,
Thank you.
the more you heat something, the more you will try and convince maybe the fragrance to decrease.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Just one more, just before we do. I like the questions. The other thing is that as a organic, someone that's obsessed about their health, remember when you heat any plastic, If you warm up plastic, you are convincing the ingredients inside the plastic to potentially leach into the bottle, into the liquid. So heating plastic is not a good idea either. So if you are heating oil, you should always, from a health perspective, it should be heated in glass. It's like at home in the kitchen, if you are reheating food in the oven, or if you're reheating food in a microwave, it should be in glass, because plastic has its own poisons and toxins inside it that can come out. Also why you should never leave a water bottle in the car and let it get super hot in the day and then keep drinking from it, because plastics have phthalates inside them, and phthalates are very negative for human health, for brain health and other not very nice issues. Sorry, so that's my last bit about plastic. Okay, who had the question? Retreat.
Me. So is there any possibility to know that this oil is refined or cold pressed, or by just looking? If
No.
I have two products, we cannot.
So with ours, there will be, in that I'm going to start on your big bottles. We can put a note about it, but when you buy it from a brand, you'd need to talk to them and get them to give you some evidence or indication. So for us, we make the oils through a third-party authority called Soil Association, who check whether something's organic. So they basically check us. So we can show people like that we can put that logo there. But if you're buying other brands, it is quite hard. You would have to ask them for them to maybe evidence somehow that they've got cold pressed. They may be able to send you documents from their suppliers. So sometimes the supplier, so they could go to the supplier of the apricot and they could send you a document saying it is cold pressed. But I think the most important thing to realize is, when you're buying beauty brands in spa or at home, do not presume just because the brand is expensive or just because the brand has a very established name that you know of, do not presume that they are making the best choice. Very often, the bigger the brand, the more you've got to remember they've got so big because they've made so much money. The way to make money is to make cheap choices inside your bottle, to sell it at a lot and to make it at a little cost. So sometimes it's the flip reverse of what you think it should be. Anyone else got any questions? Anyone that has to leave, don't worry. I know we're a bit over time, so if you need to go to treatments, run away. I will stop our recording.